Can you just tell me a little bit more about the program?
Yes. So it is going to be 8 weeks long. I am modeling it after my 12-week one-on-one coaching package. There are obviously benefits to both coaching formats, but what I'm really excited about with this group coaching program is that there's also this element of community that's built in. So we're going to be discussing a lot of the topics that I discussed during my individual coaching, but there will be some more structure to it just to keep things from going too far off the rails. And each week we will have a theme or main topic, and you'll have 3 lessons or videos or activities. It'll be like drip released. Monday, you'll have a quick something to do, learn. Tuesday, you'll receive another thing. I'm planning on having them take between 5 minutes to complete and maybe an hour if we're talking about these assessments and but it shouldn't take that long. So there's that basically happening Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, we'll have a body doubling session. It'll be 2 hours long. You can come and go as you please, and it's absolutely optional. The whole point of this is to give you time to catch up on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday's things if you haven't or you didn't have time. Or practice or try body doubling if you never have, or just use it to get whatever done that you need to get done. It might not have anything to do with the actual coaching program. And then Fridays, we'll have a 90-minute coaching session. And that's where we'll actually discuss more in depth the topics that were introduced throughout the week. We'll have a chance to all talk about it. We might do breakout rooms. We might not, just depending on how people are feeling about that. And it's really just a chance to get to know one another, learn more about our own brains, problem solve together. And one-on-one coaching, it's cool because you're just talking to me and I'm giving you feedback or thoughts, bouncing stuff off of you. And that's nice. But at the same time, it's just me. You're only getting my thoughts. And having a group of people with a similar mind as yours, it's just going to be really great because we can see what can come out of that.
That sounds great. What are you hoping that everybody walks away with at the end of the 8 weeks? What's the hope? Want them to understand their brain better? Do you want them to have new skills, new knowledge? What's the goal there?
I definitely want everyone to understand their own brain better at the end of the 8 weeks. I think that that's kind of a given given the format of the program. But so I'll explain it this way. People come to me or to any ADHD coach usually, and they have this very rigid idea of what they hope to get out of it. And it's I'm going to be a pro at time management. I'm going to be amazing at getting stuff done. I'm going to complete my to-do list when I make it. All these things, a lot of it is yes, I understand why you want to do that, why you're driven to do that. Basically, it's yes, you're going to be learning skills, figuring out tools that help you accomplish those things. We are going to do that. But my selfish focus and priority with my clients across the board is that they will not only better understand their brains at the end of our time together, but they will care more about what they want and think and believe about themselves than what they think about anybody else in the world. I'm not going to help you pretend to be neurotypical. I refuse. But really, my whole thing is just I want people to feel like they have more autonomy, they have more control over their lives, are more respectful when they reach barriers. They're more respectful toward themselves and sit more comfortably within their own authenticity. I want people to feel like they've been deprogrammed to believe all of these things about themselves that absolutely aren't true.
It sounds like being more clear and having clarity on who you are as a person and also being more confident with that true person.
I think clarity is more important than the confidence part, because I just feel like putting confidence as a goal or a
Mhm,
potential thing to focus on, there's so many pieces around confidence that it's easy to be like, I'm not confident enough. I'm not
mhm,
an expert yet. How do you get to a point where you feel confident? It's more like when you hear those voices in your head that we all hear telling us we aren't good enough, we're not doing enough, we're not productive enough, all of these things, or
yeah.
maybe we're too much or
Poor
whatever it is.
self-talk. Yeah.
When that kind of stuff comes up in our minds, I want you to learn and be able to recognize that, first of all. That's part of the battle.
Mhm,
And then I also want you to be like, but is that true? Whose
yeah.
voice is that
Yeah.
that's telling me
Yeah.
that? Is
Where
this
did that come
bullshit?
from?
Do
Yeah.
I need to follow that? Would I be happier if I didn't? Asking questions and making you reflect
Mhm,
on and identify what you actually want and give a shit about.
mhm. What do you feel like is the difference between your group coaching program and like doing therapy? What's the difference?
They're quite different. There are similarities, obviously, but the main difference is that with therapy, the main focus is on your past. It's on finding the root of things and then like digging deeper into the root.
Mhm, mhm,
Whereas with coaching, you might be like finding the root of things. And it's great to have awareness about the root, but we're not diving deeper into the root itself. We're just
mhm,
identifying that root so we understand ourselves better and maybe understand the reason behind what we're doing, which if we can understand why we're doing something, it's easier to remove shame from it, is
yeah,
another thing. But it's like very future oriented rather than trying to pick apart why you do something and then like stay in that until it makes
mhm,
sense, like you might in
mhm,
therapy. It's more so, hey, what's happening here? Maybe why is it happening if we want to go down that road a little
yeah,
bit. And then regardless, we're going to focus on what can we do
yeah,
to acknowledge this and find a solution for it
yeah,
moving forward that works
moving
for
forward.
us and isn't just
Yeah,
something that we've been told time and time again that we
right.
should try.
What changes can we make in order to live a better life now and in the future? Or meaning more authentic and in being ourselves. Do you kind of visualize people feeding off of each other, like people sharing their experiences and then being like, I also have experienced that? Or like you said, it's not just going to be you leading the conversation or one-on-one. I might share something and then someone else be like, I went through that and like here's some things I did. And so we're like helping each other.
In the events that I facilitate in general, and you'll see this too in like book club, it's not the Neely show. Book club is not the Neely show. Group coaching is not going to be the Neely show. I don't
Yeah,
want it
that's
to
what I
be. I can talk, believe me. I
yeah.
can talk, I
Yeah.
can share, I can tell you stories, I can tell you about my own life, but it's not the Neely show. I don't want that to turn into just being about me and my experiences because that's boring. That's stupid. So there's going to be a lot of crosstalk there. That's going to be encouraged. I never want any of my clients in any capacity to feel like they can get in trouble with me.
Yeah.
That's something that I like to reassure them about is you can't get
Yeah.
in trouble with
Yeah.
me. So if that means, oh, you accidentally talked over me, you interrupted me, you're not going to get in trouble. You're not going to be kicked out or
Yeah.
something. That's natural. That's going to happen. I
Yeah.
would like for us to all just have our mics unmuted. So when a thought
Mhm.
comes to mind, we can just say it in a safe space where that innate part of having ADHD, of sometimes wanting to interrupt people because your brain is going too fast. I want us to all feel like we can do that
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
okay. And we aren't going to be chastised for it or made to feel really bad about it. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for us to bounce ideas off of each other, brainstorm ideas, get really creative because our brains are naturally creative.
Mhm.
And so I want to tap into that and be like, maybe there might be something I don't know very much about. Maybe it's something I
Mhm.
don't struggle with. personally. So
Yeah.
rather than just try to come up with something and hope that it sticks and maybe works for one person in the room, it
Mhm.
would be cool if other people are like, hey, I've tried this and it works for me. Maybe give
Yeah.
that a shot. I want people to
Yeah.
feel comfortable doing that.
What if people feel nervous about being in a group situation? What would you say to them?
So I'm keeping this small for a reason. So it won't be like 30 plus, 100 plus other
Mhm.
people in the room with you. It'll be at most 10.
Mhm.
And these are all going to be people that you'll also be able to interact with and get to know better on the Discord server. There's no rush to feel comfortable to
Mhm.
share. It's not
Yeah.
like by the first group session, I need you to feel like you can share about your like, deepest, darkest fears as someone with
Mhm.
ADHD. You don't have to talk about any topics that you don't feel comfortable talking about in
Mhm.
general. You can just sit there and have your camera off
Right.
and
Listen.
listen, observe. You can type in the chat if that's all you feel comfortable doing that
Mhm.
week or that day.
Yeah.
That's totally
Yeah.
fine. I've added an optional 1 hour pajama party call the
That.
week before it all
Mhm.
starts. It's totally optional. You don't have to attend if you're not available, whatever. That's totally
Mhm.
fine. But if you can, it'll be nice because we're just going to be getting to know each other. We're going to be doing icebreakers, like super
Mhm.
chill, laid back stuff. And so that way, on the first group session, officially, these won't be complete strangers to you. If you aren't comfortable with just sharing in general, if that's something that makes you nervous, that's understandable. And when and if you do feel ready to, it won't be with complete strangers at that point.
I feel like also you do a really good job of the people that you choose. You're not just like letting anybody come into the program. Like that's why you do these calls first, where you allow them to ask questions and have them fill out the interest form because you're going to make sure that they like fit the vibe of
Mhm.
creating a safe environment for other people.
So generally speaking, yes, I will say there's no one that I have had to screen out at this
Hmm.
point because I that the people that tend to be drawn to me, my
Hmm.
content, whatever you want to call it, they tend to lean more authentic to themselves, or like they're basically like, there's all of this that I have
Yeah.
to give to the world, and I just haven't gotten the opportunity to like tap into it yet or like connect with
Right.
it yet. I'm very excited about who we currently already have signed up for it because I just
Hmm.
think it's going to be a really lovely mix
Yeah.
of individuals, and it's going to be like,
Yeah.
I'm a manifester, I'm going to be running the show as to be expected. And there's going to be the whole range of testing generators. There's a generator in there, there's projectors. There's a chance for every person to contribute what they are best at contributing.
I love that. How much time should people expect to like work on stuff outside of the Friday sessions?
If you count the optional body doubling session each week as class time, essentially, then if you decided to save all of like Monday,
Yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday stuff for Thursday
Yeah.
during body doubling, then theoretically you wouldn't have to do any like outside work other than like internally processing
Right. Right.
information.
If someone isn't able to like get to an activity a week, how's that handled if they didn't get a chance to do something?
I would check in with them individually,
Hmm.
privately, and see if there's a reason they haven't completed that activity. Because if there's a barrier, whether it's mental or time or
Hmm.
whatever, I want to try to problem solve and come up with a
Yeah.
solution. If they want to do the thing to begin with, they just can't for whatever reason, I would want to work with them individually to address that.
Yeah.
But if they're like, I started this assessment and I hate it, I don't want to do it. I'm never going to make anybody, if they're
I
like,
hate
I
it.
just really hate
Yeah.
these kinds of assessments, cool, don't do it. We'll either figure
Yeah.
something else out or work together to identify like time that might be better for you
Yeah.
to focus on it. If like the body doubling session time isn't a good time for you in that regard. I can't bring myself to be like, no, it's a requirement that you do this like silly little
Yeah.
assessment that I picked
Yeah.
out, or you're
Yeah.
like kicked out or something. No.
Will people have access to you in between the group session and the body doubling? What if people want to ask you a question or anything?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
generally speaking, yes, especially in the Discord server. So I
Mm,
want that to be
mhm.
a place where people are like, they ask a question and it can be directed specifically at me, or it can be like,
Mhm.
hey, does anybody know where I would do blah, 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 or
Yeah.
like, how does
Yeah.
this work, or something like
Yeah. Which we've
people
already
can
been
work
doing.
together. Yeah,
Yeah. Like we
exactly.
when you decide to sign up, you get added to the Discord, right? And we're already meeting each other and talking and introducing ourselves. And I think that's awesome to get excited about the program, you know?